Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Derek, and in today's video, I want to show you how you can use artboards in Photoshop to quickly mock up ideas. So I get a lot of questions from students in our Facebook group. Check out the link below if you want to join. A lot of questions I get is how do I begin a project, especially when you're starting with a blank canvas and you're kind of like a deer in the headlights, just looking at it, not sure where to begin. So this is how I start my projects. So what I'm working on today is an ad for a company. They're a repair shop in town, and what I've done is I've used artboards in Photoshop to quickly create a bunch of different ideas and to move really fast. So the basic concept is that they're the only certified body shop that can fix the new aluminum Ford trucks. So the way that we started was we got the idea of the text that the client wanted to use. We got an idea of the messaging and kind of the layout. So then from there, it was basically whatever I wanted to do. So the first thing I did is I found a truck photo that I thought was really cool, had a cool stance, but we're going to have to address some things here. For me, the reflections are pretty distracting in the new ad that I'm going to bring into. So I have to fix the windows and I need to isolate it from the background. So when it's all said and done, this is what I ended up with. So I'll step through that here in a second to show you how I got to this point. But basically now I have the truck isolated that then I could start designing these ads with. So the very next thing that I did is I created a Photoshop document and I used the artboard features. So the way I did this is we'll go to File, down to New, and when you start your project, you can start with any of these templates. I'm just going to click on, actually it's going to be a web project, so that way it'll automatically set my resolution to 72. My color mode will be RGB, and then over here, this little checkbox for artboards. Sometimes it's off, sometimes it's on. I don't know what your default is going to be, but make sure that's turned on. And then you're going to want to set your pixel size, and you can always change this later if you get it wrong. In fact, let's go ahead and just do this so I can show you how I would change it. So I'll click Create. And now I've got a new document, and the artboard title right here can be changed. It's just like a group in Photoshop. So if you're used to using groups in Photoshop, this will be easy for you. In fact, you can do some of the same things you can do, and as far as like duplicating and jump cutting, and I'll show that in just a second. But all I have to do is double click in here and I can rename this. So for my other file, what I did, let's jump back over here. You can see the names are just the pixel dimensions. That's how I named them over here. So let's go ahead. This was supposed to be 1200 by 628. So we'll jump over here. I'm just going to rename it 1200 by 628, and let's go ahead and actually resize that now though. So up here with this artboard selected in the layers panel, and I also have the artboard tool selected over here. So that's how I'm seeing the width and the height of the canvas, or of the artboard rather. So let's change that to 1200 pixels. So we'll type px by 628, and you shouldn't have to type px for pixels if you've started this as a web project. If it's showing up as inches, you can come up here to let's go to Photoshop Preferences, down to Units and Rulers. We'll click on that, and then you can change your units from pixels to inches to whatever you want, and then that way when you make new document sizes, it'll default to that measurement. So all right, so we've got my canvas set up and ready to go, and now I need to start designing the ad. And what I did rather is I just grabbed this mountain background, I brought it into my new document and just threw it in the artboard. We'll scale it down. And I'm kind of working off memory. I did this a couple days ago, but I wanted to show you guys how I did this. So we'll throw that in here. I'm going to hit Command J to jump cut it, and then I'll turn this off. That way I always have this to come back to. I could also convert it to a smart object so I'm not working destructively. But what I'm going to do now is come up to Image, Mode, and actually it was Adjustments. I'm trying to remember what I did. I honestly don't remember what I did. It could have been black and white right here. So this will add an adjustment layer. That's one way to do it. Sometimes I'll hit Command Shift U, which is the same as coming up here to Image, Adjustments, down to Desaturate right here. So that just basically pulls all the color out of it. So there's a lot of ways. All I'm trying to do is create this subtle background. You'll see the mountain back here. So that's all I'm doing. In fact, while I'm here, I'm just going to sample this gray color that I had. We'll jump back over into my new document. I'm going to put a layer right there, and we're going to fill it with that light gray that I just sampled. So if I turn it off, you can see it there. We'll turn this layer back on. I'm going to scrub the opacity down just a little bit. And now I've got a subtle texture in the background to work with. All right, so I'm going to come back in here and grab this truck. So I've got my selection tool. I've got it selected to select the group. So we're going to grab this group, that's the truck. I'm going to drag and drop over my new file here. Come back in and let go. And now I've got the truck in the scene, and I'm going to go ahead actually and just convert this to a smart object right now. So that way I'm not dealing with all the shadow layers and things that I could break. I'll scale it down, and you can see that this is my workflow of how I started bringing in assets and pulling things together. So if we come back and actually look at these ads that I started throwing together, I started just playing with basic colors, bringing in elements like the logo, some text, the heading. And then to quickly get ideas, if you're staring at a blank canvas, the first thing I do is I just start pulling in the assets. Like, what is it going to be in there? So in this case, the fonts, the backgrounds in, the main image, and a logo. So I bring that in. This isn't anything great at all, actually. So then what I did is, because I'm working with artboards, I can click on the name of the artboard, hold down the Option key on a Mac or the Alt key on a PC, and I can click and drag, and it will copy everything. Now, oops, okay. All right, let's try that again. So what I'm going to do is, I've got my art, it doesn't matter, I've got my move tool selected. I'm going to click right here, and when I click on the title of the artboard, it automatically changes to my artboard tool. So you could do that either way, but I'm going to hold down the Option key on a Mac, Control key on a PC. I'm going to click, Option key on a Mac, Alt key on a PC. I'm going to click and drag up, and now it copies that artboard for me. And not only does it copy the artboard here, but if we look over in my layers, if I click on this, you can see I've got this artboard, basically like a group, and below it are all the layers that came with it. If I click on the one below it, you can see all of those are here as well. So now I've got multiple artboards. It's like having multiple files in one file, and I can move things around and try different designs. So that's exactly what I did. I just drug a copy over here. I changed the background color. So basically I threw a kind of a dark blue color over the top, or behind it, it looks like. Sorry, I'm picking apart my file from days later, but I've got this dark blue that I put behind the mountain layer here, which is set to soft light, 50% opacity. So it's just kind of adding some gentle texture over the top of it, change the colors, and starting to kind of play with how this is going to look. The other thing you have to pay attention to, if, in this case, we're working on an ad, is where's this thing going to live? So with Facebook, they like to see 20% or less of it have text, if that makes sense. So 80% of your graphic should be graphic and not text related. So something like this would be good because it's mostly graphic. I started to kind of copy over more artboards to try some different things. In this case, I tried to make the Ford logo a little bit bigger so it really speaks to being, a Ford, and Ford Aluminum, the only certified repair shop. Playing with that and a call to action here with my button. All I did for the button is just hit the letter U to get my rectangle tool, and then I just drew a shape and then put text over the top of it. So right now we're just trying to get pieces in place here. So you can see I'm playing with different layouts, different messaging. In this case, working on the exact words. In this case, it's only certified repair shop, whereas this one is only certified, or only aluminum body certified repair shop. So it starts to get more and more wordy. Oops, I messed up a button here. Anyway, so then playing with that and just trying to get some real quick ideas for the layout and exploring, because at the end of the day, I'm not the final decision maker on this. My client has to sign off on it. So by starting with a blank canvas, it's easy to overthink whatever your first design is. Your first design is probably going to suck. Usually mine sucks, right? The first design, you just kind of have to spit it out to get it done. So that's what I did here. I just threw a bunch of stuff on the canvas and then I moved on to the next thing. So I don't let my mind, I don't try to get hung up on any detail too much too quick. So I just kind of dive in and just start going nuts with it, creating multiple artboards. If I have new ideas, I'll do more things. And I try and get, I don't know, what do I have right here? Like 6 or 7 looks. And I did this probably in 45 minutes or less. It was just something I had to get done. And then what I'll do is I'll leave it alone and maybe come back to it a day or two later, or maybe a couple hours later if I still have to finish it. But that way you can get some quick looks out, kind of come back to it with fresh eyes. And that's how I use artboards in Photoshop to quickly generate comps and quickly get through the process here. Now, that's the main thing I wanted to show you, but let me just go ahead and push this a little bit further for you in case, great, this is great. Now, what do you do with this? So now that you've got your artboards here and you maybe are ready to use, let's just say this version right here, what I could do is click on this, and we need to so this is going to, for me, this is going to turn into an animated ad. So I'm probably going to animate this in After Effects. I could also use Google, I think it's Web. Let me just put a link down here. There's a Google Web app that I've used in the past to animate through Google to actually create interactive click buttons and states. It's really cool. But for this specific purpose where it's going to live, I'll probably just animate in After Effects. So here's how I'd bring the file from this artboard into After Effects to finish the project. So what I'm going to do is come up to File, and I'm going to come down to Export, and then I'm going to export the artboards to files. So right now, before I do this, I've only got this one artboard selected over here. If I wanted to export all of them, I would just click on I would control click or command click on all of the artboards that I want to export. But for right now, I just want this one. So now I'm going to click Artboards to Files. And again, because just this one is selected, I can click on Export Selected Artboards. So this is just going to take this number 6 artboard, or I could uncheck this and it would do all of the artboards. All right, so I'm going to, I've got the name right here. I'm just going to throw this onto my desktop for right now. I think, actually, no, let's throw this. Sure, desktop is great. All right, boom, desktop. I'll throw it on the desktop. And I've got my file type right here. I'm going to change this. By default, it'll probably pop up as a JPEG for you, but I'm going to change this to a PSD. And then I've got these selected. So yep, we want to maximize compatibility. We're going to preserve the artboard, and we're going to include an ICC profile. What that means is that it's your color. It's the way that your software displays the color, basically. So I'm on a Mac. If you're on a PC, or in this case, I'm using a Samsung display, which is going to be different than my MacBook display, which is going to be different than a PC display. So by embedding a profile, all of your colors are going to look the same across the board. So that's why I always use that when I hit this. Now I'm going to click Run, and it's going to go ahead and pull out all of those artboards that I selected, which was just one. We'll click OK. Now I'm going to jump into After Effects. All right, so with After Effects open, I'm going to come up here to File. I'm going to come down to Import, and then File. I'm going to go to my desktop where I just exported that new file right here. And I'm going to change the, we've got enable all acceptable files, that's fine. The import as, instead of footage, I want to change it to a composition and retain all layer sizes. We'll click OK, or we'll select that. We're going to create a composition, and I'll click Open. So what it's going to do now is take that file and create a new composition, which is basically what lives inside of a project. It's a way for you to animate all of these different layers. So once it comes in, it's going to give me the option right here to keep editable layer styles. So a layer style would be like drop shadows and things like that. I've found once you have your artwork set up how you want it, you probably want it to merge the layer styles so it turns into like one singular asset so things don't get changed. We'll click OK. And now it creates this new composition for me up here. I'm going to double click on it. And we'll click down into here. And you can see all of the layers for this ad are now intact. So let's say I wanted to animate this button. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click the little twirl down button next to that layer. And we have the transform. I'll click on that. And I'm just going to do the position right now. So what I'll do is I'll bring this out to maybe 1 second on my timeline. I'm going to add an anchor point. I'm going to click right here on the little stopwatch. Then I'm going to go back to the beginning, and I'm going to drag this off the canvas. And I should have been holding down Shift, or what else I could do is, let's try that again. I've got my X and my Y coordinates, so I could just scrub my X coordinates here until it's off screen. And that way it stays perfectly horizontal when it comes in. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is if I hit the space bar, you'll see it comes out, but it's very linear in its animation. So now what I'm going to do is we are going to grab this little button up here. We're going to click on this little graph editor. And we are going to change, it's kind of tough to see. Let's see if I can scale this differently. I'm going to grab these little handles and drag it like this. And what you're looking for, this is going to change how it comes in. It's going to start slow and then get real fast and then come back to slow. We call this easing, ease in and ease out. So now when I play this, if I hit spacebar, it's going to kind of snap in there a little more smoothly. So, and you can drag these handles and adjust how that happens and what it looks like to make that whatever you want it to be. But all I did there again was we added that animation, the keyframes, and then I clicked right up here on this little graph editor button to see those handles. All right, so now I've got an animation that I'm happy with. I'm going to drag this here to the 2-second mark, and I can either, let's grab the end of this here. I can either scrub this timeline back here. I'm going to scrub that here and then go to Composition, Trim Comp to Work Area, and now it'll just export these 2 seconds that I made. Then we'll come back up here to File, down to Export, and we want to add to the render queue. We'll click on that. And then I can click on my output mode to change what the file settings are, or I can come over here to output 2. We'll click on that, and I'm just going to set this to my desktop, and we'll just call this I don't know, whatever, 1200 by 628 animation. We'll click save. And if you're not going to be dropping this straight into like Premiere to export or using it in another video editor, change this setting from lossless. We'll click down on this little drop down. I'm going to change this to QuickTime NTSC, and we'll click render. And now it's on my desktop, and if I hit the spacebar to preview it, you can see that it plays right out. So now I can show this to a client before I send it off, or even upload this to like Facebook or Google Ads. So the other way, if we didn't change a setting from this NTSC to just the lossless, it's going to bring it out to a .mov file, but you're not going to be able to open it in QuickTime or anything else. You're going to have to drop that directly into a editor. All right, guys, I know we touched on a lot of different topics in this video. The main thing that I hope you take away is that it's really easy using Photoshop Artboards to quickly generate ideas without stressing out or overthinking things just to get going. And then from there, now that you know how to use Artboards, you can take that further by exporting them and bringing them into other applications, in this case After Effects, because we're going to be animating this for an ad. So comment below what you think. Let me know if that helps you, or if you get stuck anywhere, anything that I can clarify for you in the next videos. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you aren't already, and we will see you in the next one.